Hi, I'm Sheila. Welcome to this yoga flow practice focused on strength through transitions, the poses between the poses. When I was planning today's practice, what I was starting to think about is where we are right now. So I'm in Minnesota and we are in April. We are between winter and spring, but right now we're kind of stuck. We've had this, oh gosh, couple weeks of 30-degree temperatures right now. The winds are howling outside at 30 to 50 miles per hour today. So we're stuck in this phase between winter and spring, right? We went past the equinox, but as I was thinking about planning today's practice, I was thinking about the strength that we find when we are moving between 2 points. So we might feel like we're stuck in this spot, or we might feel all the strength we can find in this spot. So today, as we practice, I invite you to think about the strength between two destinations, the poses between the poses. Oftentimes we think of, arriving in a warrior two, that's the pose. And yet to get to that warrior two, there's all this strength that comes to play, all this focus, this beauty that comes to play. So today, as we practice, I'm going to invite you a number of times to just notice the strength as we move between the poses, as we move between the seasons, and just finding the appreciation in that. So feel free to join me when you're ready. Today, the only prop you would need would be a block, if you would like, or a blanket. And again, for a blanket, this is a quote-unquote yoga blanket, but you can use any blanket, a towel. That's great when we're on our knees, if you would like that underneath your knees. So don't hesitate to grab that in your supplies. A block will be great. We'll start seated with a block, and I think it's handy many times during the practice. If you don't have a block, thinking of another item that might suffice, a really firm pillow, sometimes a really firm shoebox, although they have to be really firm. I know folks that have used books, but again, something that just meets your needs and that you have around the house. If you don't have a yoga block, you don't have to have a yoga block. So when you are ready, go ahead and join me seated on the mat. If you would like to play music during the practice, go ahead and turn on your favorite playlist. Something that gives you inspiration as we move between the poses. So if you want to pause and go ahead and grab your things, you can do that. If you're ready to go, we'll get going. All right, so we're going to start seated. And again, I'm going to sit on a yoga block so that I can just allow the knees to kind of float open, the hips to slowly open. You could also sit on a blanket, a firm pillow. You can sit directly on the mat. All right, so just think about what you have around your house. Now, if this is not a comfortable seated position to you, that's not where you want to be. So if you want to be seated with your legs long in front of you, or with the soles of your feet together, or if all in all you want to be down on your back, that's fine too, okay? So just find that comfortable seated place to start where we can settle into our breath, bring us to this moment in the practice, allow us to be here together, to practice together, to find energy together. So settling into your comfortable seated position. And maybe let's just start by bringing the shoulders up to the ears and down and back. If you're laying on your back, you can bring the shoulders up to the ears and release them down. Maybe inhaling as you bring the shoulders up and exhaling as you just let them float down. So let's just get a little bit of movement before we come to stillness. Excellent. Now let's take an inhale and really reach up and just lengthen and reach towards the sky, towards the light. Maybe taking another inhale before you just slowly melt down, allowing the chin to float towards the chest. And then go ahead and find your comfortable seated spot again. Elongating the spine, maybe lifting the head, maybe softening the gaze or closing the eyes. And let's just take a moment to take some slow inhales and exhales. And maybe you take that inhale and exhale just as it feels natural to you and you don't think about it at all, okay? I mean, just don't think about what type of breath you use. You just notice the new life that comes in every time you inhale and every time you exhale, releasing the old, releasing the stale, releasing what you don't need. So taking those inhales and exhales, inhaling the new energy, exhaling, releasing the old, cleaning house as it were. And as you take those inhales and exhales, keeping that thought in your mind of coming back to the breath, recentering yourself at the breath during any time in our practice. So from here, we're going to slowly just start again, awakening the spine and getting some movement. So coming back to those shoulder rolls that we started, bringing the shoulders up to the ears and down and back, just a few more of them. And then let's take an inhale, bringing the arms up overhead. Once again, reaching towards the sky, towards the light. And then as you're ready, exhale again, releasing what you don't need, or maybe rolling the wrists as you come back down. Excellent. One more, bringing the arms up, reaching, and exhaling, coming back down. From here, let's go ahead and inhale the arms up. And then on the exhale, let's open the chest a little bit to Cactus Arms. Inhale as we reach. Exhale as we do a small twist towards the side. Inhale, center. Exhale. Inhale, reach. Exhale, small twist towards the other side. Once again, inhaling back to center. Exhaling as we open. Inhale as we reach and lengthen the spine. Exhale as we twist. This one we're going to hold in for just a few breaths. So option to look out over your back shoulder or maybe over your front shoulder. Just see what feels better for your neck. Keeping the spine nice and long. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and bring the arms back to center. Let's open again to Cactus Arms. Inhale as we reach. And exhale and hold on the opposite side. Again, taking a few breaths, choosing if you want to look out over the front shoulder or the back shoulder. Spine stays long. And as we inhale, we bring new life in. As we exhale, we maybe soften into the twist. We send out what we don't need. And now on your next inhale, go ahead and bring those arms back to center. On the exhale, we're going to bring the left hand to the earth and we're going to reach over to the other side. Now you can really push into that palm if you'd like, or if fingertips feel better, you can push into fingertips. Let the shoulders soften and really push into that round hand to allow just an opening, a stretch in those side ribs. And then just let slowly float to the opposite side. Everything we do today, obviously we do on both sides, so you can choose the side you want to start on. Again, pushing into that hand, feeling the length and the nice stretch in those ribs. And then let's come back to center. Roll the shoulders a little bit. Excellent. Let's go ahead and come off of the block, setting it to the side. All right. We're going to transition to all fours. Now again, this could be a time where you might like that blanket under your knees for a little extra padding, depending on the type of floor or the type of mat you are on, or just how you feel today. So coming into your tabletop positions, we're going to bring the knees under the hips. We're going to bring the hands under the shoulders or just slightly forward if that feels better on your wrists, okay? And we begin moving through our cows and cats. Dropping the belly, lifting the gaze for cow. And then as we exhale, we tuck and round, coming into our cat. So the first few, let's do really slowly. Maybe you take some extra breaths on these, but just really nice and slowly. And maybe even holding, if the cat stretch or the cow stretch feels like you want, if you feel like you want to stay in that longer. So just some slow movements. And then as you warm up that spine, let's just slowly increase and sync up our cows and cats so that we're moving at 1 breath per movement. So exhaling as we round into that cat, inhaling as we drop the belly and lift the gaze for cow. Maybe even add a little bend in the elbows as you move through. Now, cow and cat is often something we've done so much so that as we move through, we often maybe don't even think about the movement through. But drawing attention as you move between the cow and cat and really focusing on pulling that belly up through the spine, rounding till we get to the tip of the head. And then slowly releasing and coming down. So again, noticing the movement between the poses, the strength between the poses. Excellent. From here, come back to your neutral spine, if you will, and then let's just soften into a child's pose. So you could keep knees together, or you could make knees go wide for that wide leg child's pose. Or you can go into puppy pose, all right? So whichever you prefer. And then maybe you bring the hands behind the back and just roll out the wrists a little bit before we come back to them. All right, so taking a few breaths in that child's pose. On your next inhale, go ahead and lift up the spine just a little bit. Walk the hands to one side of the mat or the other, and then just as you exhale, soften in. Inhaling and exhaling. And then on your next inhale, go ahead and walk your hands back through center and exhale as you soften into that side bend. Again, taking some inhales and exhales. Walking your hands back to center, coming back to that tabletop. Moving into some preparation for spinal balance. So go ahead and take your right foot, actually you could do either foot. Take your right foot back behind you, toes are engaged in the mat, and then we're just gently rocking back and forth a little bit just to warm up and loosen the calf and the arch of the foot. After a few of those, go ahead and bring the knees back. Same thing with the opposite side, just landing those toes on the mat and just maybe some slight rocking back and forth. And then bringing that knee back. So we're back in our tabletop position. Moving into a little spinal balance. So we're going to take the right arm long in front of us, thumb to the sky. And then as you're ready, we're going to lift the opposite leg. And we're pulling the belly towards the spine to create this strong core. Gaze is down towards the mat. Neck is long and released. And then slowly release down. Switching to the other side. Breathing. Keeping that back leg strong and active. The foot is facing the ground. And let's release down. Now moving at your own pace, go ahead and begin to move from side to side, really intentionally lengthening, releasing, lengthening, releasing. So moving back and forth with the spinal balance, drawing attention to the length in those limbs, to the strength in the core as you move between one side and the other. So maybe one or two more on each side. And then we will all meet in a child's pose, your choice, between wide knee or knees together, child's pose. And again, once you come down, maybe you roll the wrists a little bit. Excellent. From here, let's go ahead on the next inhale. Let's meet in our tabletop. Transitioning to a down dog, spreading those fingers wide, gripping into the fingertips, tucking the toes under, and the hips go up and back, coming into our down dog. Now, anytime during our practice, if you prefer to be in tabletop, you can be in tabletop versus down dog, all right? So pedaling out that down dog, finding some movement that feels good. Maybe you lift up the heels, lower one heel and then the other. Or maybe you lift up the heels and you lower them both to one side for a different stretch. Hold there for a few breaths, come back through center. Just finding movement that feels good in your down dog. Excellent. From here, we are going to move into down dog plank waves. So to do that, we're going to lift the heels, put a slight bend in the knees, and pull the belly to the spine as we wave the spine forward, coming into a high plank or a knees plank, your choice. Then we'll bend the knees and come back to that down dog. So lifting the heels, bending the knees, pulling the belly in as we wave the spine forward, and then coming on back. Lifting the heels, bending the knees. Moving at your own pace. So we're finding this flowing movement between, as you notice, we're drawing attention to the poses, between the poses. This strength as we move between down dog and plank. And noticing this strength, noticing that pose between the pose. And then go ahead and come to find stillness in your down dog. Excellent. From down dog, let's go ahead and walk the feet forward, coming into our first forward fold. Putting a good sized bend in the knees. Letting the head release a little bit, maybe nodding the head. This is also another great time to use a block. So if you find yourself really dangling and your fingertips not touching the ground, you can use the block to bring the ground closer. Give your hands purchase. All right, and keeping that bend in the knees, let's go ahead and move into either a ragdoll by taking the opposite elbow with the opposite hand and moving side to side. Or maybe you'd like to walk your fingertips to the outside of one foot, and then you come back through center. Just some nice, gentle movement today. And let's go ahead and bring the hands back to center. Again, keeping a little bend in those knees. On your next inhale, transition to your half lift. Maybe bringing the hands to the shins or the thighs, or you could keep fingertips on the ground. We'll take a few breaths here before we exhale and soften back to our forward fold. One more time, let's inhale and move into that half lift, finding the length in the spine. Exhale as you soften into the forward fold. Inhale as you prepare to rise, and on the exhale, let's push into the feet, pull the belly to the spine, bring all this energy up from the earth. Inhale as we raise the arms. Exhale as we open to Cactus Arms. Inhale as we reach. Exhale, let's add a little side bend. Inhale as we come back to center. Exhale as we side bend. Inhale as we come to center. On the exhale, let's bring our hands through to heart center. Bend the knees coming into our forward fold. Inhale as we rise to our half lift. Exhale as we soften and fold. Inhale as we bend the knees to prepare. On the exhale, push into the earth. Pull the belly to the spine. Take all this energy up. As we unfurl the arms to the sky, exhale, cactus arms. Inhale as you reach. Exhale, side bend. Inhale, back to center. Exhale, side bend. Inhale, center. Exhale, let's come into a chair pose, sending the hips back, the knees back. Spending a few breaths here, choosing, you can have your hands at heart center, down to your side, lifted, whatever you prefer. Knees are back, hips are back. Taking a nice deep inhale and an exhale, toes are light. And then as you inhale, let's go ahead and bring the fingertips up overhead. As you exhale, let's come into chair pose with a twist either side. And then let's come back to center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. Exhale, twist. Inhale, center. This time, let's bring our hands right through heart center. Come down into a forward fold as we exhale. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, let's plant our hands, stepping back to our high plank or our knees plank. From here, we're going to do our journey to down dog. So maybe you drop your knees, you lower down to your belly, and maybe come into a baby cobra, or maybe you bring your hands to the outside of the mat and do a little bit more of a wide version, okay? So just finding a little movement, a little back bend on that back that feels good for you. So cobra, mini cobra, the locust. But when you're ready, transitioning from our bellies up either to tabletop and then to down dog, or right to down dog, it's up to you. So from here, let's go ahead and walk the hands forward to meet the feet, coming into a forward fold. Inhale as we rise to a half lift. Exhale as we soften and fold. Inhale as we bend the knees to prepare. On the exhale, let's push into the earth. Pull the belly to the spine. Bring all that energy up. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale as we reach. Exhale, side bend. Inhale, center. Exhale, side bend. Inhale, center. And on the exhale, let's bring our hands to heart center. Taking a moment to come back to our breath. Taking a slow inhale and an exhale. Then let's release that all down, shake that out. Great time to get a drink if you would like, but at any time during our practice, you can certainly, you need to take care of your needs first, right? Whenever we practice, it's always about what you need. I give you the ideas, but you make it what you need today. All right, so we're gonna come to the top of our mat, stepping back into a warrior one. So with the right foot forward, I'm gonna step back into a warrior one with the left foot. Now again, taking time to set up your warrior one, finding the position that works well for you, that's comfortable for you, all right? As you're ready, go ahead and bring those arms into your warrior one position. Could be lifted, could be at heart center. Again, what feels good for you. From here, we're going to start adding a little movement by going into a diagonal lunge. So as you inhale, let's go ahead and lengthen the spine. As we exhale, let's hinge from the hips, sweeping our arms behind us. Then inhale as we rise. Exhale as we hinge. Inhale as we rise. Exhale as you hinge. Again, moving at your own pace, following your own breath. One more. And then let's meet in a warrior one. From here, let's go ahead and bring our hands to the hips. We're going to straighten that front foot, front leg, and move into a little bit of a pyramid stretch. So lots of options. Your hands can be on your hips as you inhale, and then as you exhale, you just walk those hands down, coming into your pyramid pose. This is also a time you could use, if you had 2 blocks, you could always use 2 blocks in pyramid pose. All right, hands could stay on your hips, hands could come to your shins, they could come out behind you, lots of options. And then as you're ready, let's go ahead and put a good sized bend in the front knee, coming back to our warrior one. Excellent. From warrior one, we are going to go ahead and lift that back heel, coming into a high crescent lunge, stepping that foot forward, coming into our chair pose. Inhaling as we lengthen the spine, exhaling as we slice down into a forward fold. Inhale to our half lift. Exhale as we soften and fold. Inhale as we really bend the knees. Exhale as we push into the earth, pull the belly to the spine, lift the gaze, unfurl. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale as we reach. And on the exhale, let's bring our hands back to heart center for the same sequence on the other side. So this time we're going to keep the left foot forward and step back with the right, or opposite, whichever one you did the first time. Again, setting up your warrior one, a bend in that front knee, by keeping the knee over the ankle or behind it, and an angle on that back foot that feels good for you, facing the future. And as we inhale, let's lengthen. As we exhale, let's hinge. Again, moving through this diagonal lunge flow, diagonal warrior one flow, at your own breath. Finding the strength as you reach up, noticing the strength through the transition as we move between warrior one and the diagonal lunge. And let's go ahead and do one more, then I'll meet back in our warrior one. Excellent. From here, we're going to move into that pyramid pose. So we're going to straighten that front leg. Now you can shorten your stance if that feels better. You can keep it the same. Again, you could use 2 blocks, or you could just use your own body. So inhaling as you lengthen. On the exhale, we hinge from those hip creases, and maybe we bring our hands to the thigh or the shin, trying to keep a micro bend in that front leg. Breathing. We could also send our arms behind us to our hips. Okay, whatever feels good for us. Gazes towards the ground so the neck can be nice and long. And let's go ahead and take an inhale to prepare. And on the exhale, let's pull the belly to the spine, put the bend back in the knee, warrior one. Inhaling as we lift the back heel off the mat. Exhaling as we power forward, coming into chair pose, distributing the weight between both feet. Sending the hips back, spending a few breaths here. And then let's bend the knees even more, sweep the arms up. Exhale as we swan dive into a forward fold. Inhale as we rise to a half lift. Exhale as we soften and fold. Inhale as we bend the knees to prepare. Exhale as we push into the earth, pull the belly to the spine. Inhale as we rise. Exhale as we open. Inhale as we reach. And then on the exhale, let's bring your hands back to heart center. Again, bringing awareness to our breath. Excellent. From here, we're going to move to a warrior one, warrior three transition, where we're going to flow between those 2 poses, drawing our attention again to the strength we find as we move between those poses, as we move between that warrior one and that warrior three. So we're going to set up for a warrior one with our right foot forward, all right, and left foot back, all right. So we're going to start by moving into our diagonal lunge as we did. So we inhale to lengthen, and we exhale and lunge. And then we inhale and we exhale. Now, from here, it's your option to begin to flow between Warrior One and Warrior Three. So inhaling as we lengthen, on the exhale, we push into that foot, we lift that foot up as much as we want, maybe taking a breath to lengthen, and then on the exhale, coming back down, inhaling, exhaling as we push off, inhaling as we come back down, exhaling as we push off of that standing leg, inhaling as we come back down. So moving at your own pace. Maybe you do 2 breaths per movement, or maybe you inhale and exhale and move through each, but just allowing yourself to appreciate the strength you have in each pose, but also the strength you have as you move between Warrior One and Warrior Three. Whoops. Bobbling is always a good thing, right? It means we're working. And then as you're ready, go ahead and let's all meet up in a Warrior One. From here, let's lift that back heel off the mat again, so we're in a high crescent lunge. Stepping that back foot forward, coming into our chair pose, bringing the hands to heart center. Let's inhale as we lengthen. Exhale as we dive down into a forward fold. Inhale as we rise to a half lift. Exhale as we plant the hands, stepping back to a high plank or a knees plank, moving through your version of a vinyasa, all right? So again, maybe we're in that knees plank and we lower. Maybe we're in the high plank. We come to a cobra, or we come to an up dog, and we transition to a down dog. So again, your journey to down dog. You can also come to a tabletop, move into a cow and cat. And from here, let's look forward to the hands. Step, hop, jump to your forward fold. Inhale as you rise to your half lift. Exhale as you soften forward fold. Inhale as you bend the knees, really bend the knees. Exhale as you push into the earth, pull the belly to the spine. Take that energy up with us. Exhale, open to Cactus Arms. Inhale as you reach. And then let's bring the hands through to heart center. Excellent. We're going to do the same series on the other side. So we're moving into Warrior One with the left leg forward, right leg back, or opposite if you did the other one. And then we begin to flow with our diagonal lunge. And as you're ready, begin to take off into that Warrior Three. So moving again at your own pace. You can keep your stance the same. You can shorten it. You need to just play with it to fit you. But inhaling as you rise, exhale as you either come into airplane or you come into a Warrior Three with airplane arms. Maybe you lift up a little bit and come back down. Maybe you lift up a little bit more and come back down. Again, finding your own movement, noticing the strength you have as you move between the poses. Flowing back and forth in a way that feels good to you. Any option is great as long as it's the option that fits you. We'll do just 1 or 2 more. And then as you're ready, we're going to meet in our Warrior One. So take your time. Let's go ahead and find that Warrior One. Strong warrior pose. From here, let's go ahead and lift the back heel off the mat. Little bend in that back knee. And then let's power forward, coming into our chair pose. Again, hands can be at heart center. They can be lifted. Excellent. From here, let's bend the knees, sweep the arms up. Exhale as we come into a forward fold. Inhale as we rise to a half lift. Exhale as we plant the hands, stepping back to the high plank or knees plank, moving through your vinyasa. So choosing what feels better for you, pulling the elbows back towards the rib cage, moving through your versions. Again, a cat-cow and tabletop is a great option. And then once you're back to your down dog, let's let the knees come to the mat, bring the big toes to touch, and slowly just melt into a child's pose. Taking a few moments here, just resetting the breath, releasing. Hands can be extended long in front of you, could be behind you. Maybe you bring the palms of your hands together and bend at the elbows for that shark fin stretch. Again, taking some breaths. From here, on your next inhale, we're going to go ahead and meet in a tabletop. Moving through a few of our cows and cats. Finding that organic movement that feels good to you. And then let's meet back with our neutral spine, coming back into our down dog, tucking those toes under, spreading the fingers wide. Excellent. From here, we are going to go ahead and put a little bend in both knees. And as we inhale, let's take the right leg high. As we exhale, let's bring the right knee towards the right elbow. Let's inhale that leg high. And let's take that knee towards the opposite elbow. Then inhale that leg high. Let's take that knee down the center for a hang and hold, really pulling that knee towards the chest, holding for just 3, 2, 1. Let's send that leg high. And then let's really, really hug it in towards the spine. As we help it, we move it, we physically can pick it up and bring it towards our right thumb. Excellent. Let's really lengthen the spine on an inhale. And on an exhale, let's put a bend in that back knee and slowly move on up to our high crescent lunge. You could also choose to rise to warrior one by planting that back foot. Excellent. From here, let's go ahead and inhale to lengthen. On the exhale, an open twist towards that front leg. Inhaling. On the exhale, let's sweep that back arm down, round and up. Inhaling to lengthen. On the exhale, let's open to our warrior two. Taking a minute to adjust your warrior. Front toes and knee are facing in the same direction. Back foot maybe has a little angle, that heel is kicked out a little bit, or parallel to the back edge of the mat if that's where you have the most strength and comfort. Excellent. From here, let's move into a traditional reverse warrior and then flow back to warrior two. Flipping that palm, moving to that reverse and back to warrior two. From here, moving into an extended side angle, let's reach towards that front leg, bringing the arm down. Back arm can come down, around, and up. So the palm is facing us. All right, we could also use the block here, right? Or we could also bring that arm down, choosing what feels right for you. Taking a few breaths, and then let's really power into the feet. Inhale as you prepare. On the exhale, pull the belly to the spine, back to warrior two. Straightening that front leg for a reverse triangle. And back to warrior two. Excellent. From here, we are going to move into a warrior two half moon flow, a reverse warrior half moon flow. So to do that, if you like to do half moon with a block, go ahead and grab your block now. Okay, and then come into into your warrior two position again. And we're gonna flow between the poses, finding that strength between the poses. So feel free to start flowing on your own, or if you wanna move with me, you can move with me. So to start, I'm gonna keep that block in my hand. I'm gonna bring that back hand to my hip, and I'm gonna get ready to move into my first half moon. I'm gonna stay there just a breath, taking an inhale, and then slowly softening back down and coming right into a reverse warrior. Inhaling as I lengthen, exhaling as I come into my half moon. Softening back, flowing into reverse. Moving back and forth at your own pace, really hugging that belly in as we power into that half moon. Whoops. I think I sent too much power. All right, one more. And then the last time you come to that half moon, let's go ahead and just stay there for a few breaths, allowing yourself to settle into the pose for a little bit. Again, that back hand could be on the hip, it could be unfurled to the sky. You choose. A few more breaths. And then as you exhale, put a bend in that knee. Slowly bring that foot down. Awesome. Reverse the warrior. And back to your warrior two. Let's just set that block down to the side for a minute. From here, we are going to cartwheel our hands down, frame that front foot, stepping back into our down dog. Pedaling that out. Great work. And then from here, we're going to repeat the same sequence on the other side. So we're going to take the left leg high. So put a little bend in both knees. And then on an inhale, take the left leg high. On an exhale, left knee to left elbow. Inhale that leg high. Left knee to right elbow, please. Inhale that leg high. Left knee down the center for a hang and hold. We're pushing the earth away. Little micro bend in our elbows. And then let's send that leg high. And again, we're going to hug it and roll the spine forward, wave it. Bringing that foot up towards that left thumb. You can pick it up and help it, whatever works well for you. Then taking a minute in that low lunge, just finding some length in the spine. Inhaling to prepare, and on your exhale, powering into that back leg, whoosh, bringing all that energy up. Sound effects are always optional. All right, from here, let's take an inhale, and then on the exhale, let's open twist towards the bent knee. Taking a few breaths here. On your next exhale, let's sweep that arm down around and meet in our warrior, our high crescent lunge, sorry. As we inhale, lengthen. As we exhale, let's open warrior two. Once again, maybe you go ahead and get that block in position if it's not near you, okay? And then settle into your warrior two, taking time to build that warrior, right? And then dropping the back hand, let's flip the front palm, coming into a reverse. And back to warrior two. Again. And back to warrior two. Moving into side angle, let's reach towards that front thigh, sweeping that back arm down, around and up. Again, options with that front arm. It could be on the block, could be on the floor. We're holding here for just a few breaths. And then take an inhale to prepare. And on the exhale, let's come back to warrior two. Straightening that front leg for a reverse triangle. And back to warrior two. Let the arms come down for a moment. So we're going to move into our half moon reverse warrior flow. So if you like to use the block, if you're not a block person, don't worry about it. If you like to use the block, go ahead and get your block. Come into your warrior two position in preparation, all right? So taking an inhale to lengthen, on the exhale, moving into your half moon, and then gently coming back to your reverse warrior, and beginning to flow. Moving in a way that feels good and a speed that feels good. If you want 2 breaths in each pose before you flow, and then you want to come back, that's excellent. If you want to move breath to breath, excellent. Keeping that lifted leg strong and active, that foot flexed. So we've got all this energy that we're using, that we're sending out. And again, bobbling's always okay, right? And noticing your strength as you float between the poses. One more, and then when you come to that last half moon, let's go ahead and hold in that last half moon a few breaths. Breathing, pulling the belly to the spine, noticing the huge strength you have. And then as you exhale, slowly releasing, coming back to your warrior two. And then let's go ahead and set that block down. From here, we're gonna windmill those hands down, framing the front foot, stepping back into your high plank or knees plank, staying here just a moment. Then we're gonna drop the knees and come into a child's pose. Your choice. If you'd like extended child's pose, well, it's always your choice. Maybe you want your arms in front of you. Maybe you want your hands behind your back. Breathing. Coming back to that strong cleansing breath that we started with. So staying in that child's pose for a few breaths. And then if your hands aren't extended in front of you, go ahead and bring them out in front of you. On an inhale, just lift the upper body up a little bit. Once again, we're going to walk our hands to one side or the other, and then just let the upper body soften down for a little side stretch. And slowly bringing those hands back to center as you lift the spine, walking them to the other side and softening down. When you're ready, bringing the hands back center, coming back to your child's pose. On your inhale, let's go ahead and come up to a tabletop, reposition the knees. And let's move through a few cows and cats. Coming back to where we started from, noticing the movement between the cow and between the cat, and the importance of that, the strength in the spinal movement that happens before we arrive to the cow or the cat. And then let's meet up in our tabletop. We're going to sweep the legs out to the side so that we can come to seated, getting ready for a roll down. So from here, knees can be bent, feet can be flat on the floor, or you can leave your legs long. We're going to start with a roll down. So bringing those arms out in front of us, either maybe you interlace or maybe you leave them long in front. Inhaling as we lengthen the spine. On the exhale, We hug the lower belly in and up, and we begin to roll down. Then we pause on our inhale, and we roll on our exhale. Again, you could also choose straight legs, taking all the time you want. And then once you're down on your back, move into a full body stretch, reaching the arms above your head, stretching. Sometimes you have to readjust when you're at a home practice if you run out of wall, right? Oh, big stretches. And then maybe you stretch the right arm, right leg, just isolating the stretch to that side. Coming back to center, isolating the stretch to the other side. And back to center. From here, let's bring our hands by our side, feet bent. Kind of just reset yourself on your mat. All right, moving into bridge pose. So we are going to push into the feet, and as we rise, lifting the hips, keeping the neck long, taking a few breaths here. We're going to hold in this bridge pose just for a few breaths. And then let's slowly, slowly release our hips back down. Taking a moment here. Excellent. From here, we are going to go ahead and bring both knees in towards the chest. Now you could bring the knees together, or you could bring your knees more to the sides of your rib cage, almost that like you're in a reverse reverse child's pose. See what feels more comfortable for you. Okay. And then from here, let's set the feet back down on the mat, keeping the knees in that bridge position. We're going to move into a supine pigeon. So choosing either foot, we'll keep one foot on the ground, we'll cross the other one over into this figure four. All right, couple options. You could choose to just gently apply a little pressure on that thigh if you want a stretch in that hip flexor area. Again, just an option. Or as you're ready, you may bring those hands through, clasping the back of the thigh, coming into your figure four. Moving in a way that, again, honors what you need today. Listening to your body. And then finding your release in this stretch. And on each inhale, let that new life come in. On each exhale, maybe release any holding, anything you don't need. One more breath cycle, please. And then let's slowly release that, coming back to the mat, coming back to where we were. Taking a moment before we switch to the other side. And then as you're ready again, same thing on the other side. We're just crossing one ankle over the other knee. Option to just put a gentle bit of pressure on that thigh if that feels good. Again, just an option. Or if you're ready, move right into your thread, the needle reaching through to bring that thigh closer to you. Again, finding the space that feels good for you. Noticing that one side can sometimes feel different than the other side. Taking that breath, coming back to your breath. Releasing with each exhale. to slowly uncross, bringing both feet down. Reset yourself on the mat. And then with the arms out to the side, they could either be out long or they could be out more in, oh gosh, an upside down V maybe. We're gonna push in the feet, carefully lift the hips up and move them to the right, just a couple inches, and then set them back down. Extending the left leg long, bringing the right knee in towards the chest. We're gonna give it a little hug first, rolling out that ankle. And then let's release at about midpoint and let it cross over into a spinal twist. Now option, that opposite arm, you could look towards that if that feels good. You could keep your gaze centered. Just choose what feels right for you. Coming back to your breath. Releasing on each exhale. Bringing new life in on each inhale. One more breath cycle. And then gently come back to center. Let's bring both knees in. Reset the spine so you're centered on your mat. Excellent. And then let's lift the hips up, move them to the left just a couple inches, and then set them back down. Extend the right leg long. Little hug on that left knee. And then release at about midpoint so you can send it across midline. Again, choosing the best location for your hands. They could be far out to the side. They could be by your side. You decide what feels good. You can bring your gaze to the opposite direction if you'd like, or keep it straight up. Again, your choice. Always your choice. Coming back to your breath. Let's take a few more breath cycles. And then gently coming back to center. Bending both knees, re-centering your spine, bringing those knees in towards the chest. Again, they could be tight to each other or out to the side, maybe rocking side to side a little bit. Maybe you'd like to move into a happy baby. That would be an option too. And you could stay in stillness in that happy baby, rooting the spine towards the mat. Or you could bend one leg and straighten one leg, moving side to side. Okay, if that feels good. Or maybe you'd like to transition to a Supta Baddha Konasana, bringing the soles of the feet together. Arms could come into a cactus arm if that felt good. And taking some breaths. So using this last bit of time to find the movements that feel good to you, almost like a playtime release, finding what your body craves, a full body stretch. Maybe it's a supported bridge by bringing that block underneath you and then letting the hips melt onto the block, and the knees can stay bent, or you could extend those legs long. Again, if that feels good, you could keep the knees bent, staying in that supported bridge. Finding that position that just releases any last tightness or any stretch that your body is craving. So finding those last few poses. And then as you are ready, transitioning to your Shavasana pose, knowing that Shavasana looks different for all of us, and to find that release that we want. Maybe it's our arms long by our sides, our legs long by our sides. Maybe it's knees are bent in almost a bridge position, but we heel toe the feet to the edges of the mat and let the knees fold in. Or maybe you like the blanket under your neck. Maybe you like the block under your hips, and you want to do Shavasana that way. So after you find those stretches, then allowing yourself to really settle in to your Shavasana, bringing your attention back to your breath as you soften. And on each inhale, let that new life just slowly come in. And on each exhale, really release a little bit more. Bringing in that new life on the inhales and gently releasing, melting on the exhales. Taking as long as you would like in Shavasana. The beauty of a home practice is that you can stay here as long as you'd like. So as you stay in this release time, I wish you strength. I wish you beauty as you notice the strength that is within you, that is around you as you move through these seasons of transitions, these seasons of life that put us in these transitional points. I wish you continued strength and continued ability to find the strength in those transitions. The light in me honors the light in each of you, the strength in each of you, the beauty in each of you. Be well, take care of yourself, and thank you for practicing together today. Thanks so much. Again, thank you for practicing. For those of you still in Shavasana, please stay as long as you would like, and then slowly re-energize and reset for the remainder of your day. Again, be well and thank you. Bye-bye.